Hey, I'm Keith. I want to talk about photography and in particular cell phone photography. I have a degree in photography and related media, and I love the subject, of course, as many of us do, and I even have one of these, and I never use it. Why? Why bother with carrying this thing around when I have this? And I love that this takes pictures that rival this thing from like 10 years ago. I think it's awesome that we have the power of making good images with us at all times. It's so freeing. It's so amazing, especially for somebody like me and many of you, I'm sure, who are inspired while you're walking through the city or when you're in nature, and you don't need to be encumbered by something so cumbersome like an SLR camera. I mean, an SLR camera is amazing, of course, especially if you're trying to make images printed out very large. But you can still achieve something like that with this guy, as evidenced in a lot of the new iPhone 6 ads that are like shot on this camera. It's actually hard for me to believe those. It's like, were they? I mean, how can you blow up a billboard-sized image with it still looking good when you're using a sensor that's just that big? I'm not sure. I have my doubts. I myself try and print things out, but I find that like 6 inches by 6 inches is like what it really wants to be in terms of a size. You can go bigger, and there are apps that let you do that, like Pro Camera. Instead of shooting on the camera app native to the phone, you can have an app that lets you shoot in TIFF format, for instance, so there's no compression. You end up with bigger files. I find it actually not worth it. I find that app, it's cool, but it has little too many bells and whistles, and part of the beauty to me about shooting with your phone is that it's simple, it's basic, it's stripped down. You can shoot, edit, and share all with that thing. I think it's great. So let's just get more into it. I set my iPhone up like this. I just have the camera app right here because I use it most often. And I think this is a good app. It has what I want it to have. It lets me look at the images. It lets me turn off the flash, which is just a requisite. The HDR is automatic these days, which is nice. And once I have an image, let's say this image, I can open it up here. This is kind of silly though. This is like a workflow problem. I can't open it in Instagram. How silly is this? I mean, why the heck do I want to open it in iBooks or something? It's so silly to me. Workflow is like the bane of a photographer's existence, and it's partly why I've just become an iPhone photographer, because it's like I don't want to worry about memory cards and batteries and, you know, importing digital negatives and making a TIFF and a JPEG folder for each one and renaming everything. I mean, I do some of this stuff. This doesn't get you around all of that, but it's very freeing to not have to swim in that stuff all the time whenever you want to make a picture. So, like I said, I'll shoot with the normal camera, and then I'll usually copy it and bring it into an app like Snapseed. Snapseed is a great app because it lets you adjust the image like this, which is really handy if you want to get all the lines straight in an image, which I recommend, architecture, photography style. It has a lot of filters and adjustments that you can make that are, I think, a step above Instagram's. And then I'll bring it into Afterlight maybe, which is similar, except for that doesn't have the same set of tools as Snapseed, but it's also another good one. And with Afterlight, you can add the white borders, which is handy. But it's great that Instagram now supports non-square formats, non-square aspect ratios. So let's open up Instagram. It's come a long way because let me pick up one that works for us here. So I love that you can now, do that with a picture. And even they've added this on the tools with adjustments. You can even start doing this stuff with like a 2x3 format uh, picture. So that's a nice improvement. But I think Instagram still has a way to go, and it's all about the menu bars or the menu. So adjust is my favorite menu option, tool, whatever. It's so powerful, especially if you're kind of OCD about having things centered or lined up just right. It's just necessary. It's so good, I think, that it should really go between filters and tools. It's the most special tool, and it deserves placement there. Lux, for instance, this is just a relic, I think, from back when Instagram only had this in addition to filters. And it's basically the same thing as structure or sharpen. I mean, it's not that special of a tool that it should have its own place in the Instagram menu. That should change. You should take this guy out, put it down here, and bring adjust into the 3 menu panel. So if we look at the filters panel, it's very cool that Instagram lets you move these around based on which ones you use the most. That's helpful. But why can't I do that in the tools menu? I want to be able to move, for instance, highlights and shadows to the beginning. I can't. But highlights and shadows are like the first thing I use after I do adjustments. And I want to be able to change this. There's no really rhyme or reason to, I mean, it's the same with Afterlight and others. It's like, why do you have them in this order? I mean, it's really silly. It almost looks like it's alphabetical, brightness, contrast, but then you have structure, then you have temperature. I mean, it's really makes no sense to me. And I would like things to make sense. I want the programmers behind Instagram to think about it from a user's point of view. I mean, clearly they do to an extent, but I think they can go further, and I would be happy with that. Beyond that, Instagram is a solid app. Obviously, you have these sharing things. I don't need to go into it too much, I guess. I think it's a great platform. It makes me happy that so many people use it because it signifies the real democratization of photography as an art form, to the extent that people that get a degree in it are a little foolish, I must say. Instagram lets everybody shoot their food in-app, share it right away, hence instant. But it also lets the other end of the spectrum shoot with their SLRs, continue their normal workflow as professionals, and then bring their finished work into the platform and share it that way too. So you have this wide range of what photography is here and now for everybody displayed on Instagram. I think it's great. I identify kind of in the middle. I really respect high-end photography that cares about every detail, but I also really appreciate the simplicity and the immediacy of just shooting with this, always leaving the house with this, never leaving the house with that, and still participating in the world of photography. It's great. So keep taking pictures. Looking forward to seeing everyone's pictures, and have a good day. Bye.